Hello, I'm John Smith, head wrestling coach, Oklahoma State University. Today, I'm going to cover the low single leg. Obviously, a technique for me that allowed me to win 4 world championships and 2 Olympic gold medals. And it's a move and a technique that over the course of 25 years, we've seen it evolved. And so some of that evolution is what I'm here to teach today. Going over some of the basic skills of how we get to the leg, how you can advance your skills to be able to have more positive reaction to getting to a low single leg. And then the finishes. You got to really focus on the finishes. Getting to the low single leg is one thing. Finishing is totally something different. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts and my ideas about the low single leg. One of the things that you really need to focus on is when you're hitting a low single leg is just to keep an idea that we're always penetrating below the knee. So we've known that when we talk about a low single leg, but more importantly, your position and your type of stance that you wrestle out of. It requires you to really change levels, and we're talking about being at the lowest level. So one thing I always focus on with teaching the low single leg is the type of stance that we're in. Okay, and the type of stance we want to be in, we want to be able to touch the mat with our hands so we know that we're low enough to be able to penetrate and get to a low single leg. You know, so as I'm squaring up with him, I'm here. I'm always able to feel the mat rather than my head and chest up and I don't feel it. Okay, if we're going to hit low single legs and be effective at getting to the leg, we need 2 things. We need to develop a little bit of speed and quickness. And also we need to be able to change levels. You know, so when you talk about the low single leg, you're talking about probably one of the hardest moves to be able to execute because we just struggle with changing levels at that low of a level. You know, when we talk about hitting a high crotch, you know, we're changing and we're ending up in this position here, whether it be a double leg or high crotch. Low single leg, we're ending up in this position here. So that extra level change is what causes people problems. And so I'll give you some ideas of some scenarios that you can go through to try to improve your level changes. But right now we're going to focus on the shot and just in general. Really focusing on making sure that when I penetrate that my head position, talking about just inside my head here, that's coming to the knee. I want to try to focus on making sure that when I go to penetrate at the leg, it's a direct shot, okay? So a lot of times I'm going to be in a staggered stance, okay? And as I change levels and I go to shoot, okay, I'm really focusing on keeping my hips underneath me, okay? And I'm focusing on attacking the ankle and making sure that my forearm is down on the mat here as I'm just cupping the heel, okay? Now, from the time I did it, you know, back in 1988, 92 till today, there's some changes to it. There's definitely some changes. It's not just always necessary that we have our elbow on the mat. Some guys that hit a low single leg and they'll wrap here. And you know what? I've found that it's just as effective by wrapping rather than just picking. So I like to pick heels. Reach out there and penetrate and pick heels. Some people want to wrap when they shoot here. And I find that that's actually as effective as picking the heel. The only difference is this. For you to have that speed to be able to pick heels, you need to be reaching for the heels. So if you have noticed one thing about helping me develop that level change, I'm literally reaching at the ankle. So you got to be able to see someone and it just looks natural to you. You know, when people start to work the low single leg for the first time, you really see that it's just not something that they're grabbing a hold of right now. It's not something it looks like, you know, that they've hit it a few times. A double leg, you can practice a double leg in 30 minutes and watch someone drill it later on and you're going, hey, he's got a pretty good double leg, or he looks like he's developing. Low single leg is going to take longer. And it's that level change. So remember this. As I penetrate here, I'm really focused on reaching to the leg. So as I change levels here and I go to penetrate, Notice my hips are coming underneath me, and notice how I bring my knee with me. So where it hits and where it moves is probably almost a foot, okay? So we can't hit our knee and let our head and chest go over the top of our hips, okay? This is not what we want, okay? Because we end up with no power there. We end up getting extended out. We end up getting sprawled on, and in many cases, people walk around us, okay? So wherever my knee hits, okay, as I penetrate, I'm not shooting straight to that leg. I'm actually sliding kind of underneath. So if his hands are up, okay, I'm penetrating underneath his hands, okay? You notice how my knee slides. Remember, I'm picking with my forearm down, and I'm picking the heel, cupping the heel, or we can wrap, okay? So here or here, okay? I've done it my whole life by just picking the heels, and notice at my head position. Notice where my knee is under my chest. So when young kids start to develop a low single leg, so many times they leave their hips behind and they penetrate and they end up getting extended here, okay? And this is where we want to make sure we keep our base underneath us, okay? So again, I'm changing levels, I'm filling the mat. I'm competing, I'm filling the mat. When I take the shots, now all I'm doing right now is I'm not really showing you any setups, any tricks of how I'm getting him to put him on the defense, to kind of lock him in on the back of his heels. Okay, all I'm doing is the skill and the technique of the low single leg. Okay, we'll come back and I'll cover some of those setups and things I like to do before I penetrate and give myself a much better chance to actually get to the leg and finish it. So I'm here, touching the mat, penetrate. Now notice one thing, that the back of my shoelaces end up on the mat. I don't want my toe into the mat. I want my shoelaces into the mat because I want to sit back, okay, on my base. I want to be strong here, okay? I want to be able to explode here when I need to explode, okay, to finish my shot, okay? So a lot of times we'll see individuals hitting that low single leg, and they'll have their toe dug into the mat, and they'll end up getting bumped forward because of it. Okay, and get a little bit extended, and that little extension is the difference in a lot of power. Okay, of finishing the shot. So come in. So if you notice my toe, I go to my shoelace right here. It allows me to sit my butt down into the pocket here and stay strong and tight. Now, when we take the shot, again, I don't ever really want to go through this guy. There's times when you hit such a powerful shot, you are going to go underneath him. And what I mean by that is our head pops through. Once our head pops through, it's a total different finish, okay? We're going to stay focused on a traditional finish where we're just dumping him, okay? So as I penetrate in and I focus on this level change, I'm also putting, with my free hand, I'm normally a right leg lead. So a lot of times if you're a right leg lead, you're going to penetrate often to your opponent's left leg. Opposite to if you're a left leg lead, you're going to shoot to your opponent's right leg. So I'm really focused on my lead leg and matching it up with his. Okay? I don't really want to be in the middle, shooting at an angle. Okay? I want to match it up with his. So if I'm here, okay? Because all I got to do is drop and it's right there. I don't want to be here and trying to go here. Okay? So I'm here. Boom. Okay? Now, notice that I call my post hand. But the one thing about this little single leg, remember, the ideal situation in learning this is that when you penetrate, you stop. You're sliding a little bit with your knee because I'm penetrating underneath his hands, okay? But then when I get there, I don't want to keep moving forward. I want to stop my momentum, okay? So I'm here. Now, coming right into him. Notice my shoelaces on the mat. Notice my trail leg is up with my hand. This is a support hand. Could call it a post hand, support hand. I'm just keeping my balance. So if he backs away from here, back away, just walk over here. Walk backwards. There. Here you go. Just there. This is the position I'm in. Okay? Notice how my hips are underneath me. I'm in a tight position. Okay? And this is the position that you want to fall into every time you shoot. And so the key to having a successful low single leg is that position here. That you're falling into this position every single time. Not getting extended about half the time. Okay? Elbows on the mat. Okay? You know, not ending up on two knees. Okay? We want to be right here. Body underneath us. And I'm cupping or wrapping. Okay? So again, we're focused on the penetration shot. We're focused on when we get to the low single leg, we're in good position to finish. Okay? So here, I'm here, right there. Okay? He backs out, just walk over there. I'm right here. This is the position. Come back in. Okay? I'm right here. Tight. Okay? So you see how low I'm going. And this is the challenges for wrestlers. Hey, I'm going to tell you, to hit a double leg is 10 times easier than this. To hit a high crotch is 10 times easier than this. So if you want to develop a low single leg, you've got to be committed to work harder and a lot more at it. Okay? You can put in 100 high crotches a day, and in 30 days, you might have a good high crotch, okay? You're going to need to put in 300 low single legs in a month, and you might have a good low single leg. So it's going to take more. So if you're willing to learn it, you're committed to learning it, just remember it's going to take more because there's so many details of the skills, and when we change levels at such a low level, it's really difficult for our body to stay in position, okay? So we need to strengthen our body, and we need to strengthen our mind from the standpoint of understanding we have to put in extra work if we're going to develop a low single leg. Okay, we talked about the level change, pretty in depth of what I want to see. If I'm taking a young 10 or 12-year-old and I'm trying to develop something, trying to develop his skills, I think one of the things that for coaches to remember is that I really believe if the kid learns how to develop a low single leg at a young age, all of his shots will get better. His double legs, swing single legs, because the low single leg is the shot that most people that's worked on it never really picked it up. And the reason they didn't pick it up is because it requires more. You must do more. So again, I like the fact that young kids learn that low single leg, and maybe they never really ever hit it in their career a whole lot, but they got a great swing single. They got a great shot to a high crotch. Well, they've learned how to penetrate at such a low level, everything gets better for them. So remember that the covering the low single leg and changing the legs, okay, changing levels was the key. I'm going to go into a misdirection shot. I'm going to focus on the two different shots, and then we're going to come back to the finishes and setups. So if we're looking at a misdirection shot, which for me as a competitor was probably my favorite low single leg. You know, it takes a little bit of speed and it takes a little bit of action from our faking to really allow us to be able to hit a misdirection. But it's real important that we recognize that this is another shot, okay, another low single leg misdirection that requires a lot of practice. And all this you can do by yourself, okay? And I would remind many of you that want to learn a low single leg, actually doing the drills on your own and just pretending someone's there, you get a lot more done with actually having a partner. Because again, if I can get you to where you can penetrate to a straight on low single leg, or if I can get you to where you can penetrate right to a misdirection low single leg, man, 80% of my work's done as a coach, getting you to be able to actually execute that in the match, because the finishes aren't nearly as complicated as us learning how to keep our body in position when we're penetrating. So, misdirection. On our misdirection, again, I'm a right leg lead. So I'm really going to force my action to the leg that's directly across from me, even if it's a trail leg. So move that leg back. I'm still focused, even when I'm wrestling someone, I'm still focused on that trail leg, even with the straight on low single leg. I can pull the head here to set up and look to hit it there. So remember this. Go ahead and square your feet up. Okay? I really want him to feel me coming at this leg when I'm focused on a misdirection. Just square your feet up. So there you go. Okay? So all I'm going to do, again, I'm going to show you the technique, and we're going to come back and focus on the setups. And a lot of the setups with this level change on the misdirection, a lot of setup on this is going to be jab fakes. It's going to be him feeling the pressure of me jab faking and moving to him. So as I jab fake, I'm jab faking, and then as I'm ready to penetrate, okay, a little bit hard to drill this. This is more live action when you're really wanting to do a misdirection. I'm gonna take a shot at this foot, okay, and I'm just gonna plant the hand rather than tack the hand. I want him picking that foot up, okay, and from here, all I'm doing is changing my body across to the misdirection leg, which is going to be his right leg. So I'm coming here, okay. So the shot is this. Let me just do it straight on. The shot is this. As I penetrate, I'm penetrating, planting that hand. Okay? And then as he picks that foot up, I'm transferring. So it's boom, boom. Okay? Now, we're not doing this. This is what drives me nuts with a lot of kids is they continue to go forward, just like a lot of times in the low single leg. They come out of that position and they forget about staying back in their pocket. Okay? I call it the pocket back here. Okay? They start to get extended. So a lot of times on the misdirection, kids will go here and then they'll start crawling to the other leg. Okay? I don't want that extension. All of a sudden I got extended. I want to stay in that pocket. Okay? So when I'm hitting this shot, I'm here. I'm here. Okay? So what did I do? Come here. I made a legitimate shot at this low single leg, had no intentions of taking that leg. It's not like I can get in the middle of this shot and then change my mind and go to a misdirection. If you're going to hit a misdirection, you're just going to hit a misdirection. Your focus is getting him to move that leg, putting all of his weight on that foot. When that foot comes off the mat, lift the foot up, take it back, all that weight goes right to that foot. Okay, that foot can't move, all right? And that's why we attack this a lot of times. You know, when do you want to do misdirections? Square stance. There's nothing better. People that are in a square stance, a lot of times they can't penetrate out of a square stance. You're going to end up having to lead a leg a lot of times. So in a square stance, it gives me that opportunity because both feet are exactly, shoulder width apart and they're at the same level. So I'm really putting pressure on that. When I put the pressure on, I'm reaching, planting, changing. Okay? Now again, my elbow goes down, you can hook and get just as much success out of it. Now, the difference here is this. Here, when we're on a single leg, I like our head on the inside. When I'm coming over across here, I want to be looking right into it. Okay? Because I'm coming at that angle I told you I don't like. When we're hitting a straight on low single leg because we've moved to the middle, I want us to be toe to toe. Same thing, I want us to be toe to toe, but we are attacking at an angle, but we're also attacking at an angle when he's picking his foot up and putting all of his weight on that foot. Okay, so we're going to look right into it here. We're going to look right here. Okay, and so that movement of the misdirection. You need to get to where you're flowing with it. This can be your best low single leg. For me personally, in some of my tougher matches, wrestling some of the better guys, I felt like I always had to go to a misdirection because they were protecting that lead leg constantly. So I think many of you will realize that it's not that difficult. It's just the flow of the movement. It's the flow of the movement. Okay, we're hitting. Okay, just over and over and over again. Just what I did hundreds of times down the mat, and making sure that we stay back in that pocket. You know, that's I can't tell you that enough, and not reinforce that over and over again to you. Is that so many times I see this on misdirections. Okay? Stay back in your pocket. That way you're shooting deeper into your penetration step. Okay? So, those are really the two key shots to a low single leg. Straight on low single leg, misdirection low single leg. And then finally, I would say the last low single leg shot is punching your head through. When do you want to do this? Sometimes you don't get to pick and choose when you want to do it. Sometimes you're working so hard and you had a really strong drive off your trail leg into your low single leg and you find yourself head underneath. So we found our head underneath. Okay? I prefer not to put it there. I prefer not to shoot it there. But there's sometimes you're just going to do that. Okay? And what you don't want to do is you don't really have time to readjust and bring your head back out. A lot of times we'll take the right shot and he might put us there. You know, step across or go to my crotch here. You know. Okay? In this position. So, if we find ourselves where we're extended out a little bit and our head punched through the low single leg, just readjust what? What do you readjust? Get your body back in the pocket. Okay? And the pocket again is this. On a low single leg, it's this. Same position on a misdirection. So when I hit that misdirection, all I'm doing is putting myself in the same pocket, in the same position, except I'm leading now my left leg. Okay? So, if I find myself shooting my head through here, all I do is readjust. Okay? Make sure I'm ready to readjust. So, the misdirection, a lot of practice on your own. Boom, 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 over and over again. You don't need a partner. You don't need a partner to practice your low single leg. Over, 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 over. Okay? Today I'm wearing long pants. A lot of times I like to wear knee pads, especially on my lead leg. When I wrestled, I always wore a knee pad. And that's really to protect my knees, you know, and not pounding them. If I'm going to hit this 100 times, you know, you're putting some pounding on your knees. So definitely your lead leg, you should have a knee pad on just to protect it. So these are the three different shots that we have with the low single leg. Now we'll go back and we'll focus on some of the finishes when we get in certain positions and then follow with setups.